Hi, I'm Maddie Carr, and I'm going to be filming a documentary about film versus digital, and I'm going to get some people's opinions about how they feel about this. I've come to Chelmsford College to ask some students how they feel about film versus digital. Digital versus film. Alright, so do you prefer film or digital?
Digital.
Why is that?
Because there's a lot more possibilities you can do with it rather than film. Film's like dead now.
Have you ever made a film? Or tried to?
Yes.
How did you find it? Hard or easy?
Bit of both.
Bit of both. So why do you prefer digital though? Like why is it so much better than film?
I don't know, it's just like, I've just grown up around it and it's a lot cheaper than film.
Right. Do you like going to the cinema?
It's alright.
What films do you prefer seeing? 3D or not 3D?
I don't really care.
Well, when you go to cinema, what's your experience like compared to what it was like back in the day?
Well, you go in, you watch the film and you go out, and it's very much, you go in, you watch the film and you go out, sort of the same.
So,
No.
do you find that cinemas have now got so real, like it's more realistic the films are back then it was?
Not really, I think the budget has just got a lot bigger.
So you don't think the film itself is realistic?
Yeah.
So you do think that?
Yeah.
To go into media.
But the cost of film was expensive.
I wanted to go into media just because it's a passion of mine, and like anyone who works in any of the arts, it's what you love and you dream to do it professionally.
Would you prefer digital or film?
That's Kodak millimeter.
I prefer celluloid.
Why is that?
The reason I prefer celluloid is it gives a look that digital still can't replicate, which is that warmth and the grit of the actual material itself.
Yeah. So where do you see celluloid in the future?
I hope it's still going to be an option, celluloid, in the future. But at the minute it's dying out, and what I'm hoping is it doesn't completely die out.
How was the cinema experience compared to how you were when you were younger compared to now?
Yeah, I think there's less people in cinemas now than when I was younger. The quality of the experience has grown from the projection being better, but overall the whole point why you go to cinema is to experience something with other people. And the less people are experiencing that with you, I think the experience diminishes.
Do you think that celluloid is going to come extinct, so that our generation is not going to pay any attention to it because digital is so much easier to use?
I hope that your generation is not going to be one of the last generations to experience it fully. I hope it goes on for a few more generations yet, but I think you've got a good point that there is a chance that it may be going extinct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think it's the death keel. I think it's the death rattle, and I do. And I also have even another whole aspect about it. I've always believed in the magic of movies.
Yeah.
And to me, the magic of movies is connected to 35 millimeter, because everyone thinks, you can't help but think, that when you're filming something on film, that you're recording movement. You're not recording movement. You are just taking a series of still pictures. There's no movement in movies at all. They are still pictures. But when shown at 24 frames a second, through a light bulb, it creates the illusion of movement. So thus, as opposed to a recording device, when you're watching a movie, a film print, you are watching an illusion. And to me, that illusion is connected to the magic of movies.
Because it's a great way you can be creative and make things for other people to enjoy.
Right. Digital or film? What would you pick?
Well, digital now.
Why?
Well, film was a lot of messing about. I remember using film years and years ago, and you used to have to splice the little bits of film together and cut it up and all. Whereas now, you just record straight onto the computer, in effect. Got lots of options. Very easy.
Where do you see I can't say celluloid, but I can't say it.
Celluloid.
Right, where do you see film in the future?
I think certain mediums still benefit from film, but of course, like with any format now, you digitise it anyway, so you can, it doesn't overly matter what you film on. Obviously, it's very much easier to film on a digital camera than it is to use a 35mm film camera.
Do you think film's going to die out? Like next generations aren't going to be really fussed about it and it's just going to go, or?
I think there's some places for it. It's not going to be mega popular. Like, before video cameras came out, the only way you could do moving footage was on cine cameras, which was film. And you'd buy 50-foot reels of film and they would last about 3 minutes, 20 seconds. So you have to be very, very careful on what you shot, and so you didn't waste it. Whereas now, of course, you can get on my memory card of my camera, I can do 330 minutes or something ridiculous. It's only 6 hours, so you just tend to shoot away and not think about it. Whereas I think when a film was about, you had to be a lot more thoughtful about what you're going to take.
So do you think digital is going to take over then?
Well, it already has taken over. Now you've got 4K out as well. The quality's immense, but I still think there's some feature films are better shot on film.
So let's take it back a bit. How was your first cinema experience?
Quite different to what it is today.
How different? Explain.
Well, you normally get 2 films. It'd be a shorter one to begin with, and then you'd have an interval where the ice cream woman would come round, and then you get the main film. Nowadays you just go in, and also the cinemas were a lot bigger. They didn't have all these multi-screens like you do nowadays, so you can't, if you didn't like what was on, that was it.
So how is it different now? What's your experience now?
You've got lots of multi-screens, you go in, you sit down and you basically watch the film that's you've chosen to watch, and that's it.
So
the lights just gone off.
So did you prefer going to cinema then or now?
Probably now, because it's more convenient. You can just go in and, like I say, basically watch what you want to watch and go home. You didn't have to.
Do you feel like films now have become more realistic than they have been in the past? Like with 3D?
I think the quality's better. I think 3D is a gimmick. I don't really think that it's taken off the way they thought it would do. There's obviously a lot of CGI and a lot of special effects used now, which they couldn't use in the past, which adds to some films, but other films, it's not required.
Right then, well thank you, Ken, for your time.
Thank you.
Overall, I would pick digital over film. This is because film is a lot more tricky and more expensive compared to digital. And with digital, you get quicker outcomes, and the film process is a lot easier and quicker and cheaper. Thank you for watching my documentary.